Ndị be anyị asị m ka ụbọchị nketa mara na anyị mma, asị m ka nke onye chikwelu ya zelu. Dịka o si dị, ihe a bụ Eastern News 24 bụ ebe anyị si wee na-ewetara unu ya bụ nnukwu ozi dị oke mkpa gbasata maka ihe na-eme na obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya, ana gbasata maka nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ. Dịka o si dị, ọ bụ na ya bụ ụbọchị izi gị ị na-agafete n'iru akwụkwọ afọ chanel anyị, kaba alụ ka sọbskraibụ antọnụ onye notification. Maka gịnị? Anyị na-etinyekwanụ update daily gbasata maka ihe na-eme n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya, agbasata maka nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ. Dịka o si dị, ya wetara unu n'iru akwụkwọ bụ ife anyị na-akpọkwa evening tea ka anyị ji maka ya, ka anyị ji mara ya. Anyị na-akpọ ya evening tea. Ife a bụ Biafran Prime Minister in exile were ife were ịgwa ụmụ Igbo. Unu ga-esi ya bụ ife n'ụdị nke gị, ị ga-esi ya bụ ife ịkaba alụ kwuo efe ichelu gbasata maka ihe ndị a niile Biafran Prime Minister kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị nke taa anyị na-akpọ evening tea. Ị ga-esi drop your own comment. All right, over to you, sir.
This approach, which is the armed struggle approach, we didn't, carry arms in the first place. It has become necessary for us to carry arms. So what we intend to do is that we have been able to lay this particular background and structure. The formation of the Biafra government in exile has given this foundation that is needed, that was lacking for decades. So we have opened several liaison offices across the world, getting ready for the restoration of independence of Biafra after the declaration in December 2nd. So on the 29th of November, from 29th of November to 3rd of December, we are going to have the second convention of the Biafra declaration in Finland. We had the first one in 2023, October, and that where we had some adopted some kind of resolution. We had what we call the Helsinki Declaration, which is the Charter of Biafra. We had alliance, which went into official alliance agreement recognition with Ambazonia, and after that, after the convention, we begin to activate the strategies that we have, which is the political approach. So on the 1st of February 2024, we started the Biafra self-referendum, organized by the Biafra government in the homeland and of course in exile. But one peculiar thing about us is that we have been able to form the Biafra de facto government in the homeland and created the 40 United States of Biafra, what has never been done since after the war. We have also been able to draw the Biafra map, undisputed, with the consent of the entire ethnic nationalities making up the entire Biafra state. So the map is there, the state structure, the government institution, all have been formed in the homeland, and it is the de facto government of Biafra. So we went into this self-referendum. In the first stage, second stage, we recorded about 30 million votes. We started with the electronic voting, and then we'll see how Nigeria was interrupting the voting. We decided to go physical voting by going into state by state, county by county, district by district. In all this, we have unit by unit. So the referendum is being conducted in the first stage of the referendum, the second stage of the referendum, and the third stage of the referendum. And the referendum is going to end on the 28th of November 2024, while the conference will start on the 29th. So we intend to announce the result of the referendum in Finland during the convention. We are also going to pass many resolutions and vote for it. We are expecting a reasonable number of delegates of Biafrans from all over the world to gather in Finland for this convention. And in this Finland, we will, after we have counted the number of the vote, number of the Biafrans, that have given the Biafra government in exile and the homeland the mandate to declare their independence and fight for them. After we have counted this particular voting and the result will be announced. We will not only just announce the result, we will also publish every document that has to do with how the referendum was conducted for the world who care to know, those who care to know and who care to see it. And then after that, if the number of the vote is reasonable enough, the delegates that have come to Finland for this convention will vote for the approval, and on that approval, the declaration for the restoration of independent state of Biafra will follow. We are planning to issue this declaration on the 2nd December, which is the fourth day of the conference. After that, when we have done with the Finland convention, we will now begin to approach Nigeria, which we know it is just going to be for formality. They will never accept anything democratic. They are not democratic in nature. They don't know even what is democracy. They do fraud in election. They kill people to become governors. They kill to become president. So they don't know what is a democracy. So we are now providing solution from what we have learned from the West, that indeed there are ways to conduct election without people getting killed. And you need to see the videos of the referendum voting in Biafra land, where people dress and come without nobody shouting, because of course of the security situation and threat. We can't nobody making noise. Everybody come, make your vote, write your name, put your name down, because we have the record of everyone that voted. For the 30 million, we have the record, we have their names and everything. So when this happens, after this declaration, we will approach Nigeria and the request for the approval and recognition of the self-referendum. We will also do the same thing to African Union, to ECOWAS. All these things are just for formality. These are people who they have put in those positions to hijack the system for the interest of the tyrannic system and nomadic system of government. Most of the people you have in the ECOWAS and the AU are all appointed by the Nigeria state, especially those representing them there. The same thing is applicable to Eritrea. So they are loyal to the government that appoints them. And they are there not to defend the interests of the people, but to the interests of the political party and the interests of the president that appoint them and gave them the appointment. That is why Africa is failing today. Because it is all about the interests of those who appointed you, not the interests of the country, not the interests of the citizen, not for the interests of the society. So we know that our communication will not bring anything or any change, but rather we want to do it as a formality. After that, we will continue the delegitimization of Nigeria within Biafra territory. Because the only two things we want to achieve using this process is the legitimization of the Biafra government and the delegitimization of the Nigeria government. And this is going to be the beginning of the delegitimization and the beginning of the legitimization. The legitimization will follow and come in with the
tupu anyị aga n'elu igosi na ya bụ ife ndị ọzọ anyị ji maka ya wee bịa maka ife anyị na-eji gosi nkịta ọ nnukwu ife ka ọ bụ ihe Biafran cabinet meeting on international level. Kabaro ki subscribe turn on your notification ebe ese bell aka metu ya aka ka o wed on so that kila pe na miss any of our update diga na otani ro akwụkwọ na Eastern News 24. We can continue going if I na-ege
suit for international recognition, which is going to take time, which is the reason we are here discussing today, which is the reason we are coming to in alliance with Eritrea, which is the reason now the like minds are coming together from abroad, from exile, to begin to bring change in Africa, to begin to push for a different democratic system that will benefit everyone, to bring Western civilization to Africa, where everybody can participate and voted for without getting killed. That's what the President Badrar is fighting for, That's what Simon Ekpa is fighting for, and that's what everyone who is supporting this movement is fighting for. So we can have a better society to live without getting killed, without fear of getting kidnapped or abused. So after that, the delegitimization of Nigeria state will continue as we continue to push with our lobbyists in the Washington DC, making sure that America understands the need for Biafra to emerge as an independent state for their own interest too. It is not just about us. What we are doing now is for the interest of everybody. Nigeria continue to stay as a country is going to be a threat to everyone, every one of us, whether you like it or not. And it is already happening. And I believe that many of them who know about Nigeria knows exactly what I'm talking about. So Biafra becomes alternative to make sure that we have long-term solution to the upsurge of terrorists. And after that, the delegitimization of Nigeria continues. The fight for legitimization of the Biafra government will now take them to the second stage. Like Elias said here, we will continue to create awareness for the people in the United States, those who are in decision making in the US and of course in Europe as well and beyond, for them to understand that Biafra is the only alternative that will bring solution, bring peace, so that all this money they keep sending to money to Africa, when Africa is actually richer than them in natural resources, but they are being mismanaged and all that. So you don't need to be sending aid to Africa. We don't need it. We don't need the aid. The aid is actually what is, making all these people to be what they are today. So we don't need those aids. Rather, we need good governance, good democracy system, a true democracy. We need law and order, where the government will be held responsible when international law, international treaty is breached. Like Nigeria today, they go kidnapping. They go to Kenya to kidnap somebody, kidnap the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, and nobody has sanctioned them. Everybody is fine with it. That is not the kind of society we are fighting for. Nigeria have done this in the 80s. They went to London, to the United Kingdom, to kidnap somebody called Marudiko. And the United Kingdom jailed every one of them that are involved. Today, look at where they are. They have not jailed anybody for kidnapping their own citizen in Kenya. And not only that, even their own citizen is still languishing in the DSS dungeon in Nigeria. And there is nothing have been done. Money have changed hand. Nigeria have bribed all of them and nobody can talk. So we are not looking for that kind of system to continue to live in that kind of system. So what we are doing is that after this Finland convention, where a lot of things will be unveiled, in alliances will be signed and all that, we will go into the next stage. As our lobbyists are educating the United States policymakers, we will be busy delegitimizing Nigeria within Biafra land until our voice is heard by the highest authority. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister, Mr. Simon. Mr. President, any comments on that? And also, I would like to bring a comment from our audience. That was, I think, I displayed it earlier, and just bring it back to the stage so you can comment on that also, Mr. President, Mr. G. Not reading any comment from the Eritreans. So this is, I think, a big question. You on mute, Mr. G.
You are mute.
Yeah, is it a question? Says not reading any comments from the Eritreans. Say it all. Go and find them.
I mean, if you want comment on that, okay. I would say, yeah, it's not. I don't know. But if you any comments on what? Prime Minister.
Number one, I mean, everything he said, I agree with. Especially, on the differences, on the similarities. What sort of governments, what they do to our people. Yes, Africa is not poor. Africa is rich. But a lot of resources has been misused and abused, with so many corrupted people managing our resources. I want to wish them, success on their upcoming convention or conference in Finland, unless the sky is falling apart. Transitional Eritrean government in exile intends to be there. No surprise. We may even have some surprise of our own. So I think going forward, we are really to work together. We are consulting with each other to become very, very powerful and support for each other. We just had our convention less than 2 weeks ago. As Elias said, it was in Ethiopia. That means we found us another friend in the African nation of Ethiopia. Why in Ethiopia? Well, we only go to places or countries that allows you. Can't just go, if come tomorrow, whether Djibouti, Somaliland, Sudan, or others. If they allow us or if they invite us to do the convention with heartbeat, without any hesitation, yes, we'll accept the offer and do the conference wherever they allowed us. So in the conference, believe it or not, it was successful and more than what we expected. All these small factions, it is well known, our problem is our fragmentation. We fight for the same reason, our goal is the same, but everybody trying to push the table from every different, maybe 10 angles, and the table not moving anywhere. Therefore, knowing this, those small groups, they were receptive to begin with, and we have kind of consolidated to create one central command. It is amazing. This is the largest population of Eritrean youth, over 300,000, and the next one would be in Uganda. All these are victims of exodus or running from the military, lifetime militarism in other sense. So they agree to come under our tent, which means we are building that team one step at a time. They agreed to come together. This was a big success and a historical milestone. It never happened before. We enter into a conference peacefully and conclude peacefully. But
you know, what we're doing now is that, of course, we are open for you know, peaceful dialogue and all that. As a matter of fact, we are the peaceful one. The Nigerian state is the violent one. And of course, we've actually learned from what happened to others, both in Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa. Africa leaders are the most corrupt, selfish leader you can see anywhere in the world. So they don't actually believe in dialogue and peaceful discussion. So we've seen in Biafra land where peaceful agitators are getting killed, where people who just carry flags to demonstrate on the street are getting shot, straight bullet, killed, massacred in their cold blood. And this has happened from 1999, since the resurgence of the Biafra agitation under Mossab, under the IPOB, Nigeria, you know, where people believe that we're fighting for freedom, only to go to the street, get killed, and they use their pictures and videos to share on the social media. Nigeria is killing us, Nigeria is killing us. I was sitting and watching those things as one Nigerianist that I was. So when I know that Nigeria, it can never ever get better, and I said, instead of wasting my time trying to wait for somebody to come and revive a faulty foundation that I know how rotten it is better that I use everything I have, both my intelligence, my profession, my experience, to support the liberation of Biafra. I joined the struggle. But when I joined the struggle, one of the things I did and promised myself and my God is that under my watch, Nigeria will no longer kill any Biafran and enjoy the killing. So what did we do differently? What we did differently is that in as much as we believe in peaceful agitation, and then also ready for dialogue, so this whole thing can be resolved amicably in a more democratic way. Nigeria are the one bringing violence against our people, killing them for asking for freedom. So we decided to raise our defense forces, and defense forces will be defending our land against the terrorists in uniform, while we will continue to push to the outside world, to the West, to America, in a more diplomatic, more refined, and more, a political way. So we believe in those approaches, and because of the way Nigeria is and the kind of mentality which is kill, 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 and we understand them very well. And the people that are ruling Nigeria are nomadic people. They are not Nigerians. They are not originally from Nigeria area. The president himself is not a Nigerian. I don't know whether you people are aware of that. He's not originally from Nigeria. The vice president is not originally from Nigeria. So these are people who do not believe in human dignity and the right to life. And of course, we always love human beings. We protect them. We protect women. We protect children. So what I did under my government was that I will provide that security that Nigeria never provided for my people. I will make sure that those who support the Biafra government, and whenever they get killed, Nigeria will pay their referendum. So we started our self-defense by raising the Biafra Liberation Army, the Biafra Resistance Fighters, and the Biafra Navy. And today, they are engaging Nigeria terrorists whenever they want to kill, as usual. So this is why it looks as if there is a violent way to our freedom. We are not the one bringing violence, but Nigeria state do it. So whenever they see that they cannot overpower us anymore, they start running around and complaining that we are violent. How are we violent? Were we the one who went to the streets to butcher and kill people that are carrying flags? Nigeria is not only violent to Biafrans. They are even violent to those who believe in Nigeria. You see them killing people for protesting for bad governance. You see them killing those who protested for criminals in the NSAS protest, where they are protesting against the terrorist SAS officials. They get killed and they cover them. At the end of the day, over 1,000 persons were secretly buried in Lagos. So Nigeria state is a terrorist state. Using violent states on them is just to give them some kind of accolade. They are terrorist state, and so anybody supporting Nigeria is actually aiding terrorism. And that's why we are ready to defend ourselves. And so it looks as if there are people who are violent or violent agitators. There is no violent agitator. All we do is to defend ourselves to make sure that Nigeria will never have a field day killing Biafrans again. If you check the past, from 2016 to 2017 to 18, they killed and massacred Biafrans in the field of Biafra, and nobody has been held responsible. This is the reason it looks as if we are towing the pathway of violence. And of course, we respond when a government is bringing violence. You do not fold your arms. You will respond with violence. And of course, you need to even have a superior power to be able to withstand the kind of barbarism from the Nigeria state. And that's what Biafra have done very, very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, Mr. Simon. And this historical and joint interview, this historical and joint interview with the Eritrean government in exile is a milestone in our fight for freedom for the two movements, freedom for Biafra from Nigeria, and also for the government of Eritrea in exile, and government of Eritrea in exile, and of Eritrea inside the dictatorial regime in Eritrea. Can you tell us what do you have in common, both these sisterly governments in exile, and the struggle for independence and the struggle for free Eritrean people from the tyrant administration in Asmara?
Thank you, Mr. KHA. And again, thank you, Prime Minister Simon. And I would like also to commend Mr. Elias being straightforward in this 21st century.
Right.
We don't have anything to hide. When you're fighting for freedom, there is nothing to hide.
Yes, everything on the table, Mr. President.
Pardon me?
Everything on the table.
Yes, it should be on the table. Only a tyrant will have something to hide, but we have to be upfront because we're fighting for freedom. So we shouldn't have anything to be worried about by telling it like it is. On that previous question you gave to the Prime Minister, Simon, if there is a peaceful political dialogue, but with this dictatorship and the tyrants, the oppressors, they don't have any vocabulary that says peace. In our case, it looked like it's too late. It became to the point of no return. I don't think they would listen to that aspect. If there is a way, even today, after all this damage that has happened in my nation, Eritrea, if there is anything to be dialogue, if there is a peaceful way to exit, in order to reach or achieve our freedom, we want to do it with the minimum damage. We don't want any further bloodshed. We don't want to create a humongous military in order to battle the existing military. For God's sake, those military that are inside Eritrea is the people's military. They are not a private military. They belong to the nation. If I would remind each and every one of you, as you graduated from Sawa, you have a pledge you gave. And that says, yes, as a military, I will protect my nation and my people from external and internal enemies. Repeat it, from external and internal enemies. So, I still want to remind you, the biggest enemy is the internal one, that is looming and causing all this harm among each of us. As we know, he lives in our differences, so we have to minimize our differences in order to know and identify and target the enemy. Coming back to your question though, what do we have in common? Well, injustice in one place is injustice everywhere. If we are claiming we've been unjustly treated, the same goes for the Biafran people. By the same token, something that we have in common also, the Biafrans are also indigenous people. So do we have 4 different indigenous people in Eritrea? That has been recognized through the United Nations. I think they deserve their freedom, their human right intact. I think they should be treated even well known throughout the world. But because of that indigenous movement for all of us, I think we have a big thing in common. Again, even coming as a prowess for democracy, we both governments are working to restore democracy. And I think this is the biggest binding point we have in order to work together. The minute we met through the Office of Moran Strategies, we decided, yes, in order to elevate each other, yes, we can work together. Yes, our causes are just. Yes, our causes are righteous for our people. Therefore, yes, there is a lot in common for us to work. And I think it is not about if, but when. Yes, we will prevail, and our people, both sides, should be free. With that, I will yield my platform to you, Mr. KJ.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Bahadurai, Mr. G. Mr. Elias, can you give us looking forward and in the future what we can be achieved or expected from the modern strategies in cooperation for these 2 governments?
Ndị be anyị daalụ nne nke ukwuu ka unu si wee gbaa mbọ wee na-esoro anyị n'ife anyị na-eme n'ilu akwụkwọ dị iche iche. Ọ bụ ife m chọrọ ikwu before ma alapụ unu ka unu tinye alụ nke unu ife uche n'ilu akwụkwọ gbasịta maka ya bụ ife dịka o si ada and dịka o si akpọtụ n'ilu akwụkwọ. Ọ biko wa ajụ m chọrọ ịjụ, biko ndị Igbo ọma na-ege ntị saanụ ya bụ ajụjụ. Ọ ga-edugokwu n'oge anyị akpọ n'ụwa anyị mitin nke ịbụọ jụọ ụwa anyị nwanne anyị nwoke anọ n'ụlọ nke mkpọrọ ebe a ka ọ ya anọzi. Ọ ga-edugo oge onye ọbụla bụ onye Igbo ya pụta tinye ebe ya bụ ife ọnụ maka ya bụ ife akarigo. Nnamdi Kanu nwere ife o mere n'iru akwụkwọ. Tọsifọ ihe ọjọọ mere n'iru akwụkwọ bụ na ọ sị na ọ chọọzi ịbụ onye Naịjirịa. Tọsọ ya bụ ife ọjọọ o mere. And ndị ọha eze niile ma ndị niile were na-ekwuchara ndị Igbo ọnụ fa, nobody is doing something about it. Nobody is doing anything about it. Ife a na-asụ bụta ọsọ ogologo oyibo. Maazị Nnamdi Kanu bụ the leader of indigenous people of Biafra IPOB si na mmegide na-emegide ụmụnne ya dịrọzi ya alụ mma si nye ya Biafra ka ọ na. Okay, to tell you that what that thing Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na-ekwu n'eziokwu, since eji Maazị Nnamdi Kanu take the system of Nigeria till now, the system na-ebezi akwa, everything is collapsing. Always were ife ọ na-aghọta. Ọ sị gị the more you hold him, the more the economy destroyed. He said these things. O kwuru ya ekwu. Ọ bụrụ ife ụmụnne anyị pụta ị na-ekwu bụ ka maka eje yọọ ndị Fulani na mmejọ mejọrọ ndị Fulani. Chefuo na ha bụ ụzọ wee mejọ ndị Igbo. O nwere ihe ndị Igbo mere ndị Fulani? There's nothing an Igbo man. What if Igbo man mere onye Fulani? Ndị ọha na eze si na na-eje yọọ ndị Fulani about the killings in 1914. Na-ajụ biko o nwere ihe ndị Igbo mere ndị Fulani? First from the jail wee kọnka si Hausa niile wee bata ka kọnka kwuola n'Igbo. Ofu onye pụtara bụ Maazị Nnamdi Kanu si na nke ama mme na ndị ka ife a adịlọ achụbịa ka egbuo onye Igbo ewere nwanne ya lee. Ya bụ ife bụ ọ bụrụ ihe nji maka ya wee bịa ma ọ bụrụ na ị na-ege ọnụ m n'ife anyị na-ekwu n'ilu akwụkwọ. Maazị Nnamdi Kanu stand with justice, equity and fairness. O wee ndị emebere iwu iche ọ bụla ajụ na-ajụ ya so ndị Igbo ha akwa ejidere ya lapụ ya akwa the same thing Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na-azụ ka ọ na-azụ. Ndị Igbo kpọọ n'onwe unu meeting jụọ owu na-ajụ ọgwụnakọ ha m n'ọnụ. Daalụ dị na-ekwusi na-esore anyị. Ọ bụla nke a bụ ụbọchị izu gị na-abịa n'ilu akwụkwọ esore na Morning Tea na Eastern News 24. Kabaro ka ị subscribe and turn on your notification ka ịrapụ imisi any for update dịka anyị na-drop ya n'ilu akwụkwọ oge niile. Daalụnụ ụmụnne m, ọgwụnakọ ha m n'ọnụ.